Welcome.
Welcome to
Cigar.
Cigar.
Public.
Public. Welcome to Cigar Public.
I'm Michael Herklots with Ferio Tego. What was I supposed to say? Cigar Public.
Welcome to Cigar Public.
Fuck.
We got all day.
I'm Michael Herklots with Ferio Tego. Welcome to Cigar Public.
And I am here with the ever dapper Michael Herklots of Ferio Tego Cigars. Thank you, sir, for coming by and giving us some time to chat for a little bit.
Thank you for coming and getting me because my alarm was going off and I couldn't remember what it was going off for, but it was for this.
I'm always happy to be a reminder to people.
Love it.
So let's go back early days of your cigar making journey, as it were. How challenging was it for you? What was the biggest challenge?
Well, my cigar making journey started in 2011, but I've been in the industry since 1999, so it's been quite an arc to the story. But I suppose from the manufacturing side, there is no coming soon section in any humidor in the world. And so I believe, and maybe this is my background as a musician, you don't want to write a song that someone already wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to try and find an authentic voice. And that's very difficult to do when you're just rolling a bunch of brown leaves together and trying to create something that is unique and memorable. So I think the challenge is always to find a way to craft an experience that is not only memorable, but it causes someone to want to repeat it. Mm-hmm. And that is an infinitely difficult thing to do.
Looking back on how challenging it was, if you had known then what you know now, would you have ever done it?
I definitely should have found another profession. No. It's not unlike music. I wanted to be a drummer because it was my favorite thing to do. I wanted to perform, I wanted to create, I wanted to collaborate, I wanted to do all of those things, and drumming was the opportunity to do that. Well, it turns out I can do all of those same things that feed my soul in the same way. I just happen to be doing it with a different stick,
mm-hmm.
right? But I can't imagine what life would have been like had I not found this incredibly ridiculous special hobby that has made me, I have a house and I have a beautiful family and I have clothes on my back and food in my belly, and that's all from creating memorable moments with cigars and connecting with other people that appreciate the work.
Absolutely. And when you go thinking about how you approach your craft, what in your mind do you think sets you apart from all the other players in the industry?
Mine are better.
To sum up.
Look, at the end of the day, handmade premium cigars are all the same. I mean, we're on record with the government saying exactly that. They are. They're all dark air cured tobacco with a little water to add humidity, a little vermicol to keep the cap on, and that's it.
That's it.
I think we differentiate ourselves a few ways. First, I truly believe, and this kind of goes to what I was saying earlier, that we have crafted flavors and experiences that are memorable and that are unique. So it's kind of like the first time you ever tasted beer. Mm-hmm. Beer tasted like beer. Right. And it didn't matter what beer it was, It all tasted like beer. Until you start drinking beer in a more disciplined way to understand the difference between styles and lagers or hops and what kind of hops. You can always keep drilling down. Mm-hmm. But there are some brands and some products that there's not too far to drill down. Mm-hmm. What I've really tried to do is create blends that offer plenty of layers to drill down into. If you're not so sophisticated is the wrong word, but if you're not into it that much, and you just, like, I'm not into beer that much,
right.
So I don't go down that many layers.
Right.
It's interesting. I know what I like, I know what I don't. I kind of know why, but I also kind of don't care because I just
mm-hmm.
want to drink beer. And so if that's your approach to cigars, you're going to love my stuff. But if you're a cigar dork like us, and you want to start peeling back layers, there's a lot to discover in our blends. And so I think that is a major point of differentiation. The other one, two others. Number two is we make cigars in all three major manufacturing countries of origin.
Okay.
So we manufacture in Dominican Republic with the Quesada family, in Nicaragua with the Plasencia family, and Honduras with the Camacho factory. There aren't many companies that can claim all three countries of origin, especially one as small and intimate as our business is. So I'm very proud that we are so diverse in experience from a blending perspective. I think that really sets us apart as well. But then the third one is I really believe in value. And that's not to say inexpensive, but value in that we have a contract when we do business. And if you're going to invest your money in my cigar, I have to make sure that you get everything that you paid for and more. That's value. It's not the price. It's what you get for your money.
It's return on investment, basically.
Yeah, and I believe when you buy a Ferio Tego, you are investing in my company. You're a shareholder, and it's my job to over-deliver for shareholders. And so we do that with fair pricing. We do that with complex blends. We do that with a relentless commitment to consistency with every single production. And so I think, when you look at our portfolio, you look at the price, you look at the flavors, you take all of that into context, and then the final factor is the people.
Mm-hmm.
Me, my partner Brendan, our families. That's a story that can't be repeated anywhere else in this industry, and hopefully it resonates with people.
So not terribly long ago, Ferio Tego acquired some very important blends, in my opinion,
Yeah.
with the Timeless and others that were previously manufactured and owned by Nat Sherman,
Yep.
now defunct, unfortunately. How important was that to you? What was the significance, and what made you want to effectively resurrect those blends and keep them going?
When I worked for Nat Sherman starting in 2011, and so my responsibility was to create those blends and or to maintain and preserve those blends. And so some of those blends occurred before I even joined the company, but it was still my responsibility to protect and maintain and preserve those experiences for people. And that is a very emotional, draining, passion-driven quest. And so the idea that they would just be forced to disappear was really crushing.
It was heart-wrenching.
Yeah. But I had an interesting relationship with those blends too, because it didn't say Ferio Tego, it didn't say Michael Herklots, it said Nat Sherman. But that's the job.
Right.
So it was almost like I was a ghostwriter creating these blends that ultimately had some other brand on them. So this was also an opportunity for me to author the work. And so it was sort of a twofold thing, but to be able to bring the work back, restore it meaningfully, not on behalf of company, but now as an owner of this company, and to be able to author the work and sit down and share a cigar with someone, it's just an unbelievable thing.
Well, I personally was very, very gratified that you kept those going.
Yeah, man.
Because I had a great affection for all those blends, so I was very happy to see them continuing. Shifting gears a little bit to cigar media, is there any cigar media you find yourself consuming that you turn to? Do you even pay any attention at all to it?
Well, I think the idea of media has expanded to such a degree. So there's the journalism side of media, which I think our industry really has a nice range of media. Of course, the staples, Cigar Aficionado, Cigar Snob. But as you start to drill down into some of the Half Wheel, of course, but Half Wheel is a unique model because it's only digital. It's more news driven, and so I appreciate all the media, particularly all the effort media goes through. Cigar Public, of course, now new but very committed to trying to fairly cover everything. But to be honest, I don't consume a lot of that media, especially now as an owner. I find myself really engaged on the social media side because it's an opportunity to not only keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening within a very arguably small population, but it's an active population.
Small but devoted.
Yeah. So I think there's something to that finger on the pulse thing that social media provides. But more importantly, it gives us a voice to be able to communicate directly and instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And for being a very traditional industry, very traditional,
Yes.
we have to look at those opportunities where we can be non-traditional. And Ferio Tego is a very traditional brand with very traditional styling, but I think social media provides a very non-traditional and more importantly, very relevant opportunity to engage directly with people for good or bad. I mean, I don't shy away from when people post negative things about an experience with us because I see that as an opportunity to address it and correct it.
Sure.
So I consume it all. I consume probably more social than I do journalistic. But anyone willing to invest the time into doing something thoughtfully that they love, I have a lot of respect for.
Excellent. So, looking at the cigar culture as it is right now, is there anything that you would like to touch on as far as things that you would like to see improved to make cigar culture more ideal in your mind?
Well, a couple things. The first is we are the negative and the controversy and the extremes of emotions are what is driving clicks,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is shameful.
Sure.
I really believe in rather than highlighting those few moments.
Mm-hmm.
We are much better served amplifying the many moments of success and enjoyment.
Amen.
And so I would like to see a lot more recognition of the regular stuff.
Yes.
I mean, we only post the stuff that we know is going to get the clicks and the likes and the yeahs and the me toos and the yeah bros and the share it to my story and all. So, I get dressed every day. I drive my car every day. I eat, drink, and smoke every day. But I'm like everyone else. You only take the picture of the trophy, right? Because that's the one you want to brag about. But I need Ferio Tego to be a trophy, and I want people to love our story, and I want you to love it so much that you're willing to take one extra step and just take a photo of it and amplify your love for that, because that authentic, organic endorsement gives other people the permission to love it. And once they have the same permission to love it, then they brag about it.
Mm-hmm.
And once they brag about it, we're off to the races.
Yeah.
So I would just like to see more amplification of your favorites
Mm-hmm.
because you love it, not because it's a trophy that you think other people
Right.
will love.
So as opposed to people just honing in on the extraordinary and be like, look at this, take the ordinary parts of your life and demonstrate why these are extraordinary.
Make that exactly. I couldn't have said it better. It's exactly
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for stopping by our
it. Yeah,
booth.
thanks for having me, man.
Great interview. Good luck with the rest of PCA this year.
Grateful.
We'll
Thank
be seeing
you.
you around a couple days.
Ferio Tego.